I would like to introduce our team at the Nevada Floodplain Management Program. At the top you can see myself. Again, I'm Erin Warnock. I'm the State Floodplain Manager and NFIP Coordinator. I work closely with FEMA, and I'm kind of like a liaison between FEMA and the local floodplain managers, along with other duties that we'll get into later in the presentation. Over to the left is Sarah Fichtner. She is our floodplain mapping coordinator. She deals with all mapping support related items. And then over to the right is Carlos Rendo, our public outreach manager. He deals with all items of outreach, whether that be in person during non-COVID times, and managing our social media and kind of coordinating any aspects of outreach. And then at the bottom is Kayla Meyer. She's our flood program specialist, and she deals with kind of some technical reporting that we have to do back and forth with FEMA, along with just being a strong assistant in all of our tasks. We have a goal at the Nevada Floodplain Management Program, and overall that's just to help protect life, property, and water quality in the event of a flood, and also to create flood resilient communities to be prepared for the natural disaster of a flood, kind of best equipped those communities. Below I have some pictures from some major flooding events. Over on the left is a photo of Rye Patch Dam. That's its spillway flowing pretty good in Pershing County. And then in the center is the East Fork of the Carson River. Looks like they're doing some excavating to allow flows to pass under that bridge. And then on the right is Mount Rose Highway kind of being not washed out because it's asphalt, but there's some standing water on it there. Here I have some statistics regarding the National Flood Insurance Program in Nevada. I mentioned I'm the NFIP coordinator, and that's what that stands for. So we have 35 participating communities in Nevada, and you may be asking, well, we have 16 counties in Nevada, so how do we have 35 participating communities? Well, for example, Las Vegas is its own participating community, as well as Clark County. So some of the cities are their own participating communities that have floodplain managers and an ordinance and program with the NFIP in that community. The only community that is not participating in the state is Esmeralda, and that's just really due to lack of resources out there. But on this slide you can see some of our stats. This is updated in 2021 regarding the NFIP. Since 1955, in Nevada, we've received 18 presidential disaster declarations for flooding. This is a good statistic to give you an idea of how many major floods we've seen in the past over that time frame, and kind of give us an idea of what we might see in the future. Maybe we'll see more flooding just due to more atmospheric rivers increasing, but maybe we'll see less because our mitigation will get that much better. And in 2017, I'm sure you remember the flooding that happened then, but the disaster declaration included Carson City, Douglas County, Lyon County, Story County, and Washoe Tribe of Nevada, and California. So kind of all of our local areas. This slide really shows the tiers of our responsibilities and duties at the Nevada Floodplain Management Program. One of our main jobs is to support local floodplain managers through communication, training, and workshops. We provide mapping support and coordination. We also support local hazard mitigation planning and projects, and we are always providing technical assistance. Daily we're getting phone calls and emails with flooding questions. Usually is it, how can I get an elevation certificate? Is my house in a flood zone? And then of course our community assistance visits, which is an annual occurrence where we would go out to 1 to 2 of our participating communities and kind of offer them support and analyze their program. We have so many partners in floodplain management in Nevada, and listed on this slide you can see there are so many, but this is just some of you guys that really make floodplain management the way that it is in Nevada and possible with all of our small staffs coming together. I mentioned we offer training to support the local floodplain manager, year we switched over to virtual training. We were able to work with STAR 2 and provide some great trainings on NFIP basics, elevation certificates, and how to prepare for a community assistance visit. We're still working on prepping and brainstorming our trainings for this upcoming year, so you should know about that soon. Next, I'd like to turn it over to our mapping coordinator, Sarah Fichtner, to take us through some more of this presentation.
Thank you, Erin. These are the areas where the Division of Water Resources Flood Program works with the Division of Emergency Management to help communities prepare for the next flood and recover from the last one. Pre-flood work includes mitigation plans at the local and state levels, as well as mitigation grants. This includes BRIC, the Building Resilient Infrastructure in Communities, and FEMA, Flood Mitigation Assistant grants. Post-flood work involves participating in post-disaster assessments, or PDAs, with the State Assessment and Response Team, or START. Mitigation is at the center of successful emergency management, including floodplain management. Practicing mitigation will make us better prepared when the next flood occurs. The State Hazard Mitigation Plan and mitigation grants are tools to prepare communities and individual households to handle disasters. For example, homes in flood zones can receive grant funding to be lifted above flooding levels. Nevada has an enhanced state hazard mitigation plan, meaning that multiple state partners have contributed to updates for this plan. We provide assistance during the local hazard mitigation plan update, and this can include participation in tabletop exercises. We are here to be a resource to Nevada's communities. We communicate with our federal partners such as FEMA, state partners like NDEM, local communities, which are counties and cities, and with individuals about where it is safe to build and help with access to flood insurance. Hazard mitigation is only as effective as the people behind it. Without good communication between each link in the chain, there cannot be an understanding of the needs of each community. The flood program works to educate people on resources available for mitigation and recovery. A significant portion of our time is spent on outreach and education to help people understand their flood risk beyond just looking at a map. We also participate in the risk map process to update flood hazard zones and FEMA flood maps. This is a list here of current discovery mapping projects, or areas undergoing map updates, that are being managed through the state of Nevada. There are other discovery mapping projects, but they are managed by CWSD or other entities. Here's a mapping project we are currently working on. The Flood Risk Portfolio was created in 2013 as a reference guide for communities throughout Nevada. It holds a plethora of information from previous floods to emergency contacts to flood-related projects. We are upgrading to a digital flood risk portfolio that allows the public and emergency managers alike to interact with flooding information on the scale of the entire state or just their community. We hope to have this completed by fall of this year. Now to wrap up our presentation is our Public Outreach Manager, Carlos Rendo.
Hi, hello there, everybody. Very happy to be here with you all. My name is Carlos Rendo with the Nevada Division of Water Resources, and I'm the Outreach Manager. And I'd love to say that this is one of my favorite forums, and really sad we can't be there in person, but very happy to be here with you in any way we can be. And this has been a wild year. I guess everybody knows it. And in terms of our outreach, well, of course, we've had significant setbacks, and we really wish we could be out in our communities. But in the meantime, we do happen to have a couple of products that we did put together with some partners like the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. With these here are Flood Fighter Nevada educational video game. We've recently been able to partner together with Sierra Nevada Journeys and be able to get some very good curriculum-based materials that are going to be able to go out to teachers. And with that, of course, we're having to change the platform for the game as well to Android, iOS, so that they can be used within classrooms. So virtual education for classrooms is very important to us, especially at this important time in our nation's history. And of course, we do have these great story maps that we'd also been able to come up with, and we do think they're a wonderful resource in terms of being able to recapture some of the history that we've had here in Nevada and how that goes along with flooding and shaping our state's history. I think it's a wonderful teaching tool. The very next step is, of course, adding some more educational materials that go along that route for teachers so that it's easier for them to present within classrooms. And of course, we have our outreach tools. We have our website, our virtual reality that we've been able to use that was created by the Clark County Regional Flood Control District. And again, wonderful tool in terms of being able to use this virtually, but getting into virtual reality, knowing not to cross flooded roadways, wonderful tool. We have our PSAs that we've been able to put out lately, some flood awareness videos that had been actually very interesting to make because we did not have this expertise before the coronavirus hit, but we've certainly been working on it and still continue to work on it and think it's a good road to take in terms of getting the messaging out there. And we have this wonderful project we're currently working on with the Nevada Silver Jackets and our partners, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and FEMA. And essentially, we're trying to get these high water marks out to different communities within Nevada. And you love working with partners because you get to have these fantastic moments. I believe what I did was create a bunch of different types of signs that you signage goes in various forms, and I was able to talk to Courtney Walker at Douglas County Stormwater Management Program, and she instantly saw, well, yeah, this one over here that has this beautiful scenery, and very natural looking type of sign. Yeah, I know exactly where we could place that. And in terms of a historical flood marker, well, Gardnerville, Minden, could certainly add to the aesthetics of the area and keep people well informed of the potential for flooding. And right above me, we have these high watermark signs that were developed by the Army Corps and FEMA. And the interesting thing about them is they have a QR code. So somebody going into, say, Lampy Park would be able to use their phone, check out the QR code, and see all the images of past floods and some that affected Lampy Park right there directly. And so being able to have that real-time sort of understanding that you're sitting there, what is possible at those areas, I think is a valuable tool. And in terms of another tool we're working on, this one is a Nevada post-wildfire project. And essentially, rather than coming up with technical material for specialists that work out in the field after a wildfire, we're preparing these materials specifically to residents that are living below a recent burn scar area. And the thought behind that, of course, is a lot of time it's hard to get the messaging of how important and how vital their understanding of what their situational awareness is in terms of the next rains could bring a potential for flooding and a debris flow type flooding, which is a little bit different than your typical riverine flooding of the sort in terms of the material base. And we think that some of these brochures and online materials that we'll be able to present to residents will actually be very, very beneficial. And again, from myself, from our team here at the Nevada Division of Water Resources, Erin, Sarah, and myself, we'd love to thank you again for the opportunity to be here, and we'll leave our contact information open for a moment so that you can jot down any information. Of course, during COVID time, email is much more preferred because we're out of the office a lot. But please do reach out with any questions you have, or of course any comments that you might have. And thank you very much again. Thank you for the forum for allowing us to be here, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.